David is in Tucson, Arizona. Hi, David. How are you?
Hello, David, Dr. John. I appreciate your taking my call.
Our pleasure.
I don't know if you've noticed, but some of your principles differ a little bit from conventional advice. So
Stop it,
David.
Who knew?
Crazy.
I love it.
My questions are about investment mix.
Yeah.
You talk about growth, aggressive growth, growth and income, and international. And some of those aren't the terms many others use, so I was hoping you could characterize those a little for me. But the big question is, it's all stock, nothing else mixed with it. How does that change related to age and goals, and particularly as you're starting to get closer to retirement?
Yeah. Really, really good question. And you're right. None of those things line up with conventional wisdom. It does mostly. It's about a 90% overlap, but there's enough nuanced that I don't agree with traditional financial planning theory that they all stay pissed off at me all the time and write nasty blogs and stuff. But anyway, so let's go back to the first question. An aggressive growth fund is also called a small cap. Cap means capitalization in the financial world, so a small company fund, okay? And that's your startup companies, your tech companies, volatile, wild, that's the aggressive growth stock mutual fund, okay? Sometimes they call it an emerging market fund, too, okay? So that's the aggressive. The international obviously means overseas stocks or foreign stocks, and sometimes you'll see it called that. It has a kissing cousin called a global fund. And so if you think about the whole globe, like he's got the whole world in his, so it's the globe, okay, the whole globe, right? And so that means it's got U.S. stocks in it too. It's not just overseas or not just international. A pure international has no U.S. in it, no American companies in it. And so the global funds typically outperform the international funds because American stocks typically outperform the rest of the world, by and large, as a whole. Okay. Now, then a growth fund is also called, it's just a middle of the road. An index fund, an S&P 500 fund would qualify as a growth fund, but it's just a company that it's a mutual fund that has stocks in it that are growing, so it's kind of mid-range, mid-cap fund. It's also called. The growth and income will have a few bonds in it a lot of times, but it's mainly huge companies, so sometimes called a blue chip fund, or a large cap fund, the other end of the spectrum from the small cap. So this is Alcoa Aluminum, General Motors, boring most of the time, compared to little startup company on the other end of the spectrum that's going zoom zoom or not, and back and forth and very volatile and all over the map. So that's the mix that we recommend. Then, and that's a question that's an answer that's great for the whole audience to hear. That's why I'm taking a little extra time with it. Then the second part of your question is the allocation theory, which is that as you get older, you should move from equities or stock type mutual funds towards bonds and money markets to get safer and safer as you move towards retirement. And that's the theory of financial planning I don't agree with. And I'll give you my basis for my disagreement. Okay? It's called common sense. So here's the thing. So if you get to retirement and you have $500,000, $1.5 million in your 401k, something like that, even $300,000, you're likely at 65 never going to touch the principal. You're going to only live off of the income that it creates, unless you just want to drain the account down. Now, if you want to drain the account down, then you can change your allocations based on the fact that you're going to use the money. But if you are 65 years old at retirement and you are healthy, statistically, the average death age of a male in America is 74, of a female is 76 right now. However, if you make it to 65 and you're healthy, statistically, you're going to make it to 90. So you have 25 freaking years in order to outpace inflation. And so if you follow the stupid allocation theory and you move all your money into underperforming items that are, quote unquote, safer, then you're going to make no money for 25 years and inflation's going to kick your butt. And so I'm 60, and I'm 100% invested in the 4 types I talked about as far as the stock market goes. I don't have any bonds other than if there's some in my growth and income funds. There might be some bonds in that. But I don't buy bonds, and I'm not moving towards stocks because I'm decrepit and old at 60 years old. No, I got 30 freaking years. It's like talking to a 30-year-old and saying, oh, be conservative because you're going to be 60. It's the same 30 years from 30 to 60 as it is from 60 to 90. The only difference is that everybody freaks out and says, oh, my God, you're old, so you have to get really super safe now, drop all of your performance down to nothing, and let inflation be higher than the performance of your portfolio and kick your butt. It's absolutely asinine. It's an asinine theory. But the financial planning community is like a bunch of lemmings sometimes, and they just follow each other off the cliff. Whatever one of them says do, they all go do, and no one stops to question that the emperor has no clothes except me. And then, of course, I have blogs written because I said the emperor is butt naked. So it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Now, if you've got money that you want to access and you're going to tear the principal down in the next 5 years, then yes, get more conservative and move out of equities. But if you're going to live off of the goose, you want to keep that goose good and fat and let it keep growing and outpacing inflation. And that is what I'm doing, which, you know.
And that's more than many financial advisors can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many financial advisors, Dave, I've sat with and said, I want you to give me the exact portfolio breakdown that you have for your family. And the response is almost universally, well, you know, see, what we're doing here is this, nope, whatever you're doing with your family is what I want to do in my house.
Yeah, I've never told somebody to do something in 30 years of doing this that I don't do.
Yeah.
I never asked somebody to live debt-free, and then I was borrowing money. I don't have a super secret double backflip family partnership limited dip-de-dip-de thing it's a trick that the secrets of the rich that nobody knows about. Nope. Just got real estate, no debt.
That's boring, Dave.
Money and mutual funds, just zero sex appeal. Pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortable with that. Yeah, that's
the new T-shirt, Dave Ramsey, zero sex appeal, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, several $100 million. I'm good with that.
I'm all good.
Pretty good with that.